I'm fidgeting in my seat in a packed auditorium where I know maybe 3 people. I'm there for a public speaking contest when I have an intrusive thought. My brain commands me to tell your story. Tell that story. Why would I do that? Why wouldn't I just give this speech that I practiced like 100 times? Is my brain trying to sabotage me? Maybe? I don't know. But instead of butterflies in my stomach, I've got bees buzzing in my belly. As I walk onto stage, I'm introduced, all the eyes focus on me, and I decide. I tell my story. It's my journey of social anxiety, broken relationships, terrible decisions, depression, and then finally getting a little help, getting healthier, getting my life back. In 7 minutes, we go through 30 years of my life, and I'm just done. I plop back into my seat, and I'm like, okay. But they're going to announce the contest winners. Is it me? Did I win? No. But that's okay. I broke the dam. All the anxiety and tension had left. It was very cathartic. During the break, I had a woman, she makes a beeline for me. She comes up, she shakes my hand, says, "Oh, your story, it broke the ice for me. I've been there. I needed to hear that." I stammer some sort of thank you, and we continue to talk. But what I did not realize was that someone else in the auditorium that evening absolutely, desperately needed to hear my story. After the contest, I'm lighter. I'm smiling for about 3 days, and then it hits me. A wave of regret and grief and shame. I'm drowning in it. I'm floundering, trying to find some sort of emotional flotation device. Okay, brain, now what? The response? Do it again. Do it again. Okay, fine. So I rewrite, retell, rewrite and retell, rewrite and retell. After about the 5th time, I'm sitting in a darkened parking lot, driver's seat of my car, I turn off the engine, I realize that something is missing. It's the grief, the regret, the shame. They've all faded. And in their place, there's understanding and self-compassion. I've changed. The person who most needed to hear my story was me. My brain wasn't trying to sabotage me. It was trying to direct my attention towards the work that I really needed to do. So this is my experience. I wondered, could this work for others? Not sure. Do I like asking myself questions just so I can answer them? Oh, absolutely. About a year later, I had the good fortune of being hired as a storytelling coach for a 4-year federally funded program. For the 70 or so participants, I posed to them this challenging question. If you could only tell one story, what would it be? So I helped them to decide, and they wrote and they practiced. We professionally recorded these stories so that they could be shared with others. It was interesting, though, because they could choose any story they wanted. Didn't matter. In fact, they could write a piece of fiction, but very often they gravitated towards a story that they needed to tell, like it was pressing on them. For instance, Megan. Megan and her 2 friends were hiking in the woods. A woman comes up to them. She's frantic. She needs help. Her husband is suffering a heart attack. Megan's friends go look for that assistance, while Megan and the woman, they kneel down. They perform CPR. The man does not survive. Now, Megan told and retold this story, and by doing so, she was able to, alleviate these feelings of heaviness. She could also change her relationship with the story. It was no longer something that happened to her, it was Megan's story too. and Jill. Jill and her friend Grace walk out onto the top of the CN Tower. It's their latest in the line of adventures to get them ready to go skydiving. Except Jill starts taking a few steps back. She realizes, I don't need to do this. In fact, I don't need to go skydiving. What really mattered to Jill, and the only thing that mattered to Jill, was her friendship and companionship with Grace. Now, Jill didn't expect that epiphany, and she didn't expect that by telling and retelling her story, she would be able to profoundly and positively change her feelings of self-worth. And then there's Bala. Bala moves halfway across the globe. His heart's still heavy from having lost his father. He starts working 4 jobs. He's sending the money back to his 4 sisters in India who are living under the dowry system. Bala was hesitant to tell his story. He didn't know how his community would receive it. But he went for it. He received an amazingly warm reception from his community. And after the program, he's like, Noel, I feel so much better and lighter. So what's the pattern here? They find the stories they really need to tell, do the work, leave themselves open to positive change and transformation. They needed to hear their stories. Okay, so I've said that a few times, right? They need to hear your stories. What does it mean to hear your story? It means that you have to actually listen to it. It's attention being paid to it. How do you do that? For some people, it can be as simple as telling and retelling your story, writing and rewriting it, but that doesn't work for very many. Often you need something else. So you can watch a video of you telling your story, or listen to an audio recording of you telling your story, or have someone read your story to you. Now, the participants loved that one because I'd read the story to them, and then they got to coach me for an hour and a half, and, they're tough but fair. I noticed through the process there's 4 things that really helped. First, you do have to commit to listening to your story. And that can be uncomfortable, right? Have you ever heard yourself on audio, watched yourself on video? Do I sound like that? Is that me? Yeah, it is. But that's okay. I have accepted the fact that I can sound like a West Coast Kermit the Frog. Secondly, repetition is very important. Telling your story once, probably you won't see any lasting change. However, going through the process 5, 10, 15 times, now we're talking. I hope I mentioned that repetition is important. 3, who are your listeners? You're not looking for people to change your story. You're not looking for someone to be a critic, and that includes yourself. You need to show self-compassion throughout the entire process. I will never tell anyone that they need to get up in front of 200 strangers in a packed auditorium to tell their story for the first time. However, there are public speaking organizations. There's probably storytelling circles or programs at your local rec center, even friends and family. You got to find the right listeners. Finally, be prepared. For what? In order to not be emotionally overwhelmed, it's really good to have your supports in place. It could be family and friends, possibly professional, or even all 3. I always tell our storytellers, look, we're going to open doors that we don't expect, and there will probably be tears. So why do this? For the chance to grow, to change, for the story you need to tell right now, and for the ones still being written. I've been through this like a dozen times myself, and I'm going through it right now. I'm telling the story of the joy of eating your sandwich with a spoon. A few months ago, I'm visiting Mom at Vancouver General Hospital. Squeeze her hand, like, Mom, I gotta go. There'll be people here all weekend. Can I get you anything? With what seems to be her last ounce of energy, she turns her head, she looks right into my eyes, right into my soul. says, ice cream. Ice cream? Ice cream, vanilla. Okay. Down to the cafeteria where they do not sell vanilla ice cream, I grab an ice cream bar. And up in Mom's room, I use a spoon and I scoop out the ice cream. And now, I'm feeding my own mother. For her, it's like a slice of heaven. And for me, it's a sacred moment. All done, she says. Okay, Mom. Get some rest. Promise you'll eat your veggies. I'll see you on Sunday. Love you. I get a smile. Close the curtain. On Saturday, my sister phones to say that Mom has passed away. This is not an easy story to tell. This is not an easy story to hear, but it's important. I'm honoring Mom, and it's helping me to heal. I know it can be challenging to tell our stories, sometimes even to find them. People always say to me, I don't have any good stories. But they do. And they're not just good. They're beautiful. They're messy. They're human. And I believe you have stories too. So when you tell them, I want you to promise yourself that you will make time to listen, because the person who most needs to hear your story is you. Thank you.